Here's a modern day problem that needed a modern day solution. No two in-ear monitors are the same. Some bring thunderous lows but leave the vocals thin. Others sound clean in the mids but lack punch. And if you're like me, a worship leader, music director working with different setups almost every other week, you probably end up swapping IEMs depending on the band. Small band, you want warmth, you want largeness. Big band, you need clarity, you need balance. But what if one IEM could do it all? Adjustable, adaptable, and consistent across every mix. With the KZ Duonic, I might have finally found it. Today's video is sponsored by KZ, who kindly sent me their Duonic for a review. No money exchange hands, but I get to keep the IEMs and all thoughts and opinions remain my own. Thank you KZ for sending me these. The Duonic comes in a simple box that has the IEMs, the cable, and extra tips. The ear tips already came pre-installed, so they were good to go right out of the box. As someone with clumsy, stubby fingers, I truly appreciated this. Before we get into the technical details, I want to address the obvious point of difference the Duonic has. Tuning switches. To be honest, I wasn't a big fan of IEMs with tuning switches. They just felt very gimmicky, except this time, I was quite pleasantly surprised. Specifically, there are 4 switches, 2 for bass boosts and 2 for mid boosts. I find it amazing that they've managed to cram 4 switches on here, but that also sacrifices handling. Unlike other IEMs with a single bass boost switch, which can be toggled with the edge of a fingernail, you're going to need the accompanying tool, which looks like a SIM card tray eject pin. Not a deal breaker for sure, but you are going to need an extra minute to retune the IEM if you're doing this on the fly. Now on to the start of today's video, the Duonic, which I'm going to start completely flat first. I'm going to turn off all the switches. I had it on switch 1 and switch 3 on because I did like those slight bass and mid boosts, but we're going to be fair, so let's go with completely off first. I'll slowly turn the settings on. Completely flat first. Slightly bass heavy right now. Sipping sugar milk in Saturday morning light. Didn't care what day it was. Just give me Cap'n Crunch. I like how the highs don't get too sibilant. That's the problem with female vocals especially. Okay, I think I like this neutral, but let's try it with the bass switch on. Let's do with number 1. Hits my face, big hair, big dreams, nothing in the way. He-Man's flexing, turtles fight, sipping sugar milk and... Okay, that kick is a lot more powerful with bass switch 1 on. I'm gonna turn up to bass switch 2 and I shudder to think how much bass is going to be in this because I really don't like bassy IEMs. Maybe it's from my time mixing and producing audio tracks where I just don't need so much bass in my ears, but well, for the review's sake, let's go with the bass switch 2 flicked on. So 1 and 2 are stacked, which is a 2 dB boost in the bass. Alright, as a consumer, I suppose you do want more bass, but it's way too much for me, man. So I'm gonna hear this in isolation. I wanna hear what the mid boost is like without a bass boost, because your perception of mids can change if you have a bass boost on, and I think I want to make it fair. So I'm gonna turn off both the bass switches and then turn on just one mid switch. So this is the mid switch 1 engaged.
Hits my face, big hair, big dreams, nothing in the way. He-Man's flexing, turtles fight, sipping sugar milk in Saturday morning light. Didn't care what day it was.
With the mood boost up, I can hear that separation more clearly. I can hear that the guitars are panned in a certain way. Pretty decent. I like the stereo imagery with this as well. Let's go crazy. Let's start to go crazy. Let's turn up the mids to level 2. This is with 2 mid switches on and no bass boost.
dreams, nothing in the way. He-Man's flexing, turtles fight, sipping sugar milk in Saturday morning light. Didn't care what day it was.
So what's happening here is that I can hear the sizzle a lot more. The sizzle, the cymbals, the pick attack of the guitar riffs. I can hear all of that much more clearly. And the singer is becoming a bit more sibilant, and to the point where I'm not really enjoying that sibilance. Okay, just for the sake of the video, I'm going to turn all switches on. I think this is what the IEM came with. It came preset with all the switches set to on, and I'm almost afraid to try this because I never like things done in extreme. I pray that my ears don't burst.
Power on, the glow hits my face. Big hair, big dreams, nothing in the way. He-Man's flexing, turtles fight, sipping sugar milk in Saturday morning light. Didn't care what day it was.
Okay, I can't take this assault on my ears. I think it's nice. It's a very prosumer or consumer level kind of enjoying of music where you want everything super bassy, you want everything super high and crispy. This reminds me of the time that I bought my car and the salesperson said that he installed a custom EQ on the car stereo, and it was this very, very steep and dramatic V curve. He had boosted all the bass, he had boosted all the treble, and he cut all the mids, and then he put on some trance or techno music, and it made the music, I guess, loud and club-ish, but it was really not the kind of music that I was into, and not the kind of sound that I enjoy at all. I mean, if you are into extreme music, then yes, you can put all the switches on, but for the sake of my ears, I think I'm going to go with a much more neutral sounding, or at least something much more gentler. These are my settings. My settings are milder. It's just one simple bass boost and one mid boost, and that way it tailors the curve, I think, to something much more musical sounding. Let's confirm this.
Power on, the glow hits my face. Big hair, big dreams, nothing in the way.
Yes, this is the sound that I like. It's balanced, it's got punchy bass, but yet a nice sizzle in the high end. Nice separation too. So this is going to be my preferred settings on these IEMs. This is completely unscientific, but based on my subjective experience using these switches, they help with certain elements of my monitoring mix. The bass, the kick, and the keyboard. They're on opposite sides of the EQ spectrum, so every time I use one IEM, I'm choosing clarity for one part while sacrificing the other. Not so with the Duonic. Switch 1 and switch 3 on are like clarity switches for the low end and upper mids. The kick and bass become well defined, while the keys were brought forward in the mix so that I could hear both piano and synth sounds without mud. By the end of my listening experience, I had to admit, these switches weren't gimmicks, they were tools. Usable tools. So what's actually happening here? According to the tech specs, the Duonic is based on the design of their popular Caster Pro, which is their 2-driver IEM. KZ says that the Duonic is a hybrid system of 2 drivers, one 8mm dynamic driver for bass and an 8mm triflux planar magnetic driver using their triple magnet design. The soundstage has expanded, giving a more 3D feel which improves the immersion experience into the music. A quick word about planar drivers. When I saw this on the spec sheet, I was expecting extra prominent highs, but they're surprisingly controlled and balanced. On other IEMs with planar drivers, you'd expect the sibilance to be more pronounced, and hence, I usually don't use planar driver IEMs, especially when a female singer is involved. Not so with these. They don't feel planar, they feel more natural and balanced, like a really good dynamic driver. Translation, it's a serious upgrade under the hood compared to the Caster Pros. Clear lows, crisp highs, and great stereo imaging. And yet, the Duonic is priced about the same as the Caster Pro. It's going to come down to how you feel about 2 dynamic drivers versus a hybrid dynamic planar driver design and what you need to hear in your mix. There's this funny thing that happens when gear surprises you. You start to trust your ears again. I sometimes let marketing gimmicks color my judgment, frequency charts, driver counts, impedance ratings, and I forget what matters: how the gear connects you to the music and how that makes you feel it. The Duonic reminds me of this truth. It's not perfect, there's still a bit of shell bulk and the cable could be better, but sonically, it's easily the most immersive sub $100 IEM I've ever used. So who should be considering the Duonic? If you're a musician, music director, or even just an audiophile who needs one IEM that adapts to your mix, the Duonic delivers tremendous flexibility at a comfortable price. But that's just me. What about you? Are tuning switches the future or just a clever gimmick? Let me know in the comments below. Like, subscribe, hit the bell icon, and if you're curious as to how I approach universal fit IEMs and putting together a monitor mix, I have a video appearing after this explaining my approach. See you there.